Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, to Nia, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Angela Reynolds, Grace Coate, Patty Wolin, and Ben and Noel Bruning. B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has Mickey Mouse leading the band down Main Street, USA. In the background, you can see Sleeping Beauty Castle and an omnibus. On the left, you can see a Disneyland mailbox and a trash can. On the back it reads, Mickey Mouse and Disneyland Band. Led by the Magic Kingdom's #1 character, Mickey Mouse, the famous Disneyland Band marches toward Town Square, where daily concerts and flag ceremonies have become a cherished tradition. It's postmarked July 18, 1974, with the U.S. Postal Service cancel and an 8-cent Eisenhower Deep Claret postage stamp, Scott number 1395. Let's assume they visit the park on Wednesday, July 17, 1974, Disneyland's 19th anniversary, when park hours were from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 89 and a low of 62. It's addressed to Home Run Sweepstakes, KPix5 of San Francisco, California. It reads, 7/17/74, Cecil Steelman, 1313 Harbor Drive, Anaheim, California. Both postcards for this episode were sent in for a sweepstakes. This one was to a television station. One of my favorite books to flip through this time of year is From All of Us to All of You, The Disney Christmas Card by Jeff Curdy. The book goes through a detailed history of Disney Christmas cards from the 1930s to just past 2010. Inside the book are small replicas of the various holiday cards, including the first Christmas card sent by the Walt Disney Studios in 1930, with artwork by Disney legend Floyd Gottfredson. Floyd was an apprentice animator who began working on a daily comic strip featuring Mickey Mouse starting on May 5, 1930. He was also made head of the comics department for Disney from 1930 to 1946. His first Christmas card reads, Season's greetings from Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney, with Mickey playing a pedal-powered organ next to a candy shop in a snow-covered village at night. There's also another mouse rolling up an oversized snowball to throw off the awning of a shop. On the inside it reads, May the joys of the Christmas season remain with you throughout the new year. It's mentioned on the card that very few of these Christmas cards were made and are extremely rare to find today. Floyd continued working on a daily Mickey Mouse comic strip until the 70s when he retired. After he retired, he continued to make paintings of Mickey Mouse styled like his comic illustrations. Another early Disney Christmas card artist was Tom Wood. Tom is credited for making the 1931 Disney Studios Christmas card. This card included a snowy night with Horace Horsecollar and Clarabelle Cow playing music while Pluto held a lantern next to Mickey Mouse, singing to Minnie Mouse's window. Inside the house you see Minnie Mouse, her Christmas tree, and a wreath. The greeting simply reads, A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Tom worked in the publicity art department and did artwork for movie posters, puzzles, and magazine covers. He left the company for 3 years to serve in the Army, but came back and worked on the Sunday comic strip along with Floyd. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to enfieldpost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and enfieldpost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has Main Street Station with the E.P. Ripley pulling in to unload and load passengers. If you look closely, you can see the top of the Opera House. On the back it reads, "The Disneyland entrance set in flowers is as beautiful as Disneyland itself is wonderful. The Santa Fe and Disneyland Railroad Station sits atop the berm in all the glory of a transportation center of the 1900s. It's postmarked December 27, 1974, with the U.S. Postal Service cancel and a 10-cent United States cross-flag postage stamp, Scott number 1509. Let's assume they visit the park on Thursday, December 26, 1974, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to midnight. The weather was a high of 62 and a low of 38. It's addressed to Home Partners of San Francisco, California. It reads, Bonus, Grace Cavalli, 1313 Harbor Drive, Anaheim, California." This postcard was sent to a different sweepstakes, but it's interesting because this particular Disneyland postcard is an original park postcard from the 1950s, so I assume Grace just grabbed what postcard was readily available. One of my favorite Christmas cards made for the Disney Company in the 1930s is from 1936 and done by artist Hank Porter. It depicts Donald standing on top of a mailbox helping Mickey and Minnie mail a Season's Greetings Walt Disney letter with Pluto watching on the right. In the upper right-hand corner of the letter is a Mickey Mouse postage stamp. I have a similar image on a Disney Family Holiday Celebration ornament given to cast members in 2017. This was likely done by a different artist, but still has the 4 characters stuffing a similar envelope into a mailbox. Hank Porter came to work for Disney Studios in June of 1936 as an in-betweener for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Previously, he owned a commercial art studio doing illustration for retailers and manufacturers. He left Disney Animation to work in the publicity art department, working on lobby cards, posters, and assisting with the comic strips. Unlike our previous 2 artists, he worked on the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and Pinocchio comic strips. During the war, he continued to work for Walt, making insignias for the armed forces. Looking in the book, Disney During World War II, How the Walt Disney Studios Contributed to the Victory in the War, by John Baxter, it's noted that he made over 1,300 insignias, and that Walt referred to him as a one-man art department. Hank also did some interesting fold-out greeting cards in 1938, 1939, 1940, and 1942. Of those, the 1940 card is the most interesting. Completely folded, it's blue with white writing reading, "Greetings" in cursive, with snowflakes, with one of the winter sprites from Fantasia writing the word "greetings" as if wearing ice skates on ice with their feet. You then open to a continued blue design with another winter sprite writing, "From Walt Disney." When the card is entirely open, you see a character drawing of an orchestra conductor wearing red woolly gloves and a yellow and blue scarf, next to Donald Duck wearing similar accessories and also conducting. The rest of the card is filled with characters from Fantasia, Pinocchio, Snow White, the Reluctant Dragon, and Bambi. You can also see Mickey Mouse dressed as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, Goofy playing bells, and a character of Walt Disney wearing a blue and yellow plaid scarf and blue and yellow striped mittens. Underneath all the characters is a music line reading, "God rest you merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay." In the 1940s, Hank also did some greeting cards that would open up to a yearly calendar. This also would include the announcement of future animated features. The 1948 calendar included a small preview for Alice in Wonderland, which would be released in 1951, Cinderella, which would debut in 1950, and 2 fabulous characters, which would be renamed The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad and released in 1949. Unfortunately, Hank passed away in 1951 at the age of 50. He has not been made a Disney legend, but after learning about his time and contributions at Disney, I hope he's added posthumously. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. front of my incoming holiday card has an illustration of a snowy town in the woods. There are different colored houses with streets leading up to the front doors. When you open it up, there's a wintry scene with children making snow angels, ice skating on a pond, sliding down a hill, and building a snowman. There's also a ski lift with skiers heading down the mountain, and decorated trees with some wildlife enjoying the snow. It's postmarked December 3rd, 2024, with a Sacramento Snowman Happy Holidays cancel, and a Christmas Seals 2024 Snowman American Lung Cancer Association seal, and an elf making a rocket forever postage stamp, Scott number 5725. It reads, December 2024, it's Christmas time. Enjoy every merry minute. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Clocky. Thanks so much for your amazing cards. I love your adventures, and cheers to more Disney trips in 2025. Angeli. Thank you so much for the greeting card, Angeli. It was fun to get this fold-out card like the card I talked about on this episode. Maybe one day I'll make a specialty card for the holidays. The Nerdy Penguin washi tape is adorable. I need to remember to use more washi tape on my mail so that I can make room for new washi tape. I also love the Christmas seal. It's a great addition to an envelope. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sent from Disneyland or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell, theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.